Nathan, from one of the outlying tables, his feet all tangled up in the DJ's cables, surveyed the room as unseen as a ghost, while he mulled over what he might say for his toast. That the couple had asked him for this benediction seemed at odds with them parking him there by the kitchen. That Nathan had even showed up was still a surprise. And not just to him. It was there in the eyes of the guests who thought they'd seen a mirage, and then drew near and covered their shock with a, "Nathan, you're here." And then silence. They'd nothing to say beyond that. A few of the braver souls lingered to chat. They all knew it was neither a secret nor a mystery that Nathan and the couple had quite an odd history. Their bonds were a tangle of friendship and sex. Josh, Nathan's best friend once, and Susan, his ex. For a while, Nathan could hardly go out in the city without being a punchline or object of pity. Poor Nathan had virtually become his new name. And so he showed up, just to show he was game. Though his invite was late, a forgotten addendum. For Nate, there could be no more clear referendum. That he need but endure through this evening, and then he would likely never see Josh or Susan again. Susan's sister was speaking first, a princess in peach, and Nathan sat back and studied his speech. He pored over Bartlett's for couplets to filch. He'd stayed up till 3 and still came up with zilch. Except for instructions he'd underscored twice. Just 2 simple words. And those words were, be nice. Too often he'd noticed emotions betray us and reason departs when we're up on that dais. He'd witnessed uncomfortable moments where others had lost their way quickly, or brothers and sisters had gotten too prickly and peppered their babbling with stories of benders or lesbian dabbling, or spot-on impressions of mothers-in-law, which, true, Nathan thought, always garnered guffaws, but the price seemed too high, with the laughs seldom cloaking hostility, masquerading as joking. No. Nathan would swallow his rage and bank all his fire, because he knew in his case the bar was set higher. Folks were hungry for blood, even though they had supped. They were just waiting for Nathan to erupt in tears or some other unsightly reaction. And Nathan would not give them that satisfaction. Though Susan, a harlot, and Josh was and is a lout. Well, at least Nathan knew what he'd not talk about. He thought won't wish them divorce, that they wither and sicken, or tonight that they choke on their salmon or chicken. I won't say anything about that time when the cottage lost power in that storm on the Cape, and they were gone for an hour. And they thought it was just the cleverest ruse to pretend it took that long to switch out the fuse. Or that time when you, Josh, advised me with so much insistence that I should be granting poor Susan more distance. But the worst I could do was to hamper or crowd her. That if she felt stifled, she'd just take a powder. And above all, Josh, you told me not to give her the ring that I'd bought her, because a plant needs its space just as much as its water. Which in retrospect only elicits a, gosh, I hardly deserved a friend like you, Josh. No, I won't air that dirty laundry or make myself foolish. Just to satisfy appetites venal and ghoulish. I will not be the blot on this hellish affair. And with that, Nathan pushed out and rose from his chair. And just by the tapping of knife against crystal, all eyes turned his way, like he'd fired off a pistol. Joshua, Susan, dear family and friends, a few words, if you will, before everything ends. And you skip out of here to begin your new life as happily married husband and wife. You've promised to honor, to love, and obey. We've sipped our champagne and been cleansed with sorbet. All in endorsement of your hers and hisdom. So let me just add my 2 cents of wisdom. I was racking my brain sitting here at the table until I remembered this suitable fable. It's a truth about life, even though it may well distort us. And so here is the tale of the Scorpion and Tortoise. The Scorpion was hamstrung, his tail all a-quiver. Just how would he manage to get across the river? The water is so deep, he observed with a sigh, which pricked at the ears of the tortoise nearby. Well, why don't you swim? Asked the slow-moving fellow. Unless you're afraid. Is that it? Are you yellow? It is not out of fear or whim, said the Scorpion. It's just a simple fact that I cannot swim. Oh, forgive me, said the Tortoise. I didn't mean to be glib. When I said that, I figured you were an amphibian. No offense taken, the Scorpion replied. But how about you help me reach the far side? You swim like a dream, and you have what I lack. What say you take me across on your back? I'm really not sure that's the best thing to do, said the tortoise. Now that I see that it's you. You're the Scorpion, and how can I say this? Well, I don't really feel safe with you riding on my shell. You've a less than ideal reputation proceeding. There's talk of your victims all poisoned and bleeding. I hear what you're saying, said the Scorpion, but what would that prove? We've both drowned, so tell me, how would that behoove me to basically die at my very own hand, when all I desire is to be on dry land? The tortoise considered the Scorpion's defense, and he gave it some thought, and it made perfect sense. The niggling voice in his mind he ignored. And the tortoise swam to the bank and called out, "Climb aboard." The tortoise was wrong to ignore his doubt, because in the end, folks, our true nature will out. And then, just a few moments from when they set sail, the Scorpion lashed out with his venomous tail. The tortoise, too late, understood that he had blundered when he felt his flesh stabbed and his carapace sundered. And as he fought for his life, he said, "Please tell me why you have done this, for now we will surely both die." "I don't know," cried the Scorpion. "You never should trust a creature like me, because poison I must. I'd claim some remorse, or at least some compunction, but I just can't help it. My form is my function. You thought I'd behave like my cousin, the crab, but unlike him, it is but my nature to stab." The tortoise expired with one final quiver, and then both of them sank, swallowed up by the river. Nathan paused. He cleared his throat, took a sip of his drink. He needed these few seconds to think. The room had grown frosty. The tension was growing, and the folks wondered precisely where Nathan was going. The prospects of skirting fiasco at this point seemed dim. But what Nathan said next surprised even him. Folks, what can we learn from their watery ends? Is there some lesson on what it means to be friends? I think what it means is that central to living a life that is good is a life that's forgiving. We're creatures of contact, regardless of whether to kiss or to wound. We still must come together. It's like hating a food but still asking for more. beats staying dry, but so lonely on the shore. And so we make ourselves open while knowing full well it's essentially saying, please, come, pierce my shell. Silence doesn't even paint the depth of quiet in that room. There was no clinking stemware toasting to the bride or groom. You could have heard a petal as it landed on the floor. And in that stillness and quiet, Nathan turned and walked right out the door.